Melo missed the start of the season. He's working towards his comeback. But in the meantime, his comrades have been holding it down. Kelly was 50% from the three-point line against the Hawks. Gordon scored 26 versus the Pelicans. And Terry, he dropped 24 on the Spurs. But a lot of the credit is also going to Coach Steve Clifford.
Why?
He skipped over most of the X's and O's in training camp. In order to intensify the team's conditioning, chemistry, and competitive edge, he got straight to 5-on-5s.
Never been in a training camp where, we started training camp playing 5-on-5, 3 quarters with real referees. And, guys are just pretty much trying to, prove their talents to one another and to the coaching staff.
I got ball. Let's go. Let's get stops, baby. Come on. Do what we do. Take that.
The way you pick up intensity in camp is you play a lot of 5-on-5, which is what we've done. So we may be not as far along in the details that some other teams are, but I think our guys are in good shape. I think it's the best way for them to get into rhythm.
Hey, back screen. Back screen, right.
And I think players like it, like to come in and play 5-on-5, and it's a good way to get the season started.
Listen, weak.
I've never been on a team where guys have come into camp really locked in like that and ready to just go 100 miles an hour at each other.
Hey, weak. Good pass, boy.
Find a way to play hard, concentrate, and have intensity, all right? Family on three, 1, 2, 3.
The one thing I've learned over the years is you can't shortcut the process in this league. You've got to start every year, build a foundation of offense, of defense, however you're going to try to rebound. And, if you try to skip any of that, you're going to pay for it.
Are we good enough? We're good enough. We're good enough. And if you don't think we are, come and see. And I'll tell you why I think we're good enough, and we'll be good enough.
Man, that's the most reassuring thing you can hear, because he has more faith in us than, people may have in themselves. And that's the biggest thing, man. You need a coach who's going to ride for you. You need a coach who's going to believe that you can do the impossible, before you even do. He's a professional. He's been doing this, and you can tell he's been really good at this for a long time. And, for him to come with a new band of characters in a city that, he was in before, with a whole different roster, a whole different look, I think is a testament to who he is.
Nothing matters till you get your intensity right, okay, and your concentration right.
The Hornets players were asked what this year's training camp meant to them, and this was their response.
Everything. We're all willing and driven to be better than we were last year.
It's just about building that strong foundation so we can continue to grow and build an empire off of that.
Going out there and just competing every day, building as a team.
It's my first training camp. I'm really excited to get out there with the guys and get after it.
Back to doing what I love, which is play basketball.
Opportunity to sharpen up on the details and skills of the game.
I'm just looking forward to getting to it, man, and just kind of showing how much work we've all put in this summer and how excited we are.
Once that ball tips up and the game really counts, the lights are really bright, and you have to, put in the preparation and the work in order to have that carryover. So we're constantly putting in the preparation and the work, but the next step is that carryover into the game, and I think we'll be okay.
1, 2, 3.
Hard work, don't stop.
Lamelo Ball has got to be happy coming back into this lineup. For all of you guys who have not watched the game because Lamelo wasn't playing, I'm gonna let you know what he's running into. I use the word running because any competitor should be eager to join this roster at this time. This Hornets roster is playing like they have a chip on their shoulder, like they have something to prove to the league. Just a ton of grit, a ton of attitude. We see a lot of talking on the court. Looks like they're playing for more than a paycheck. And that's what you want to see if you want to win. The absence of Miles Bridges is definitely a big blow to this team, but I think we thought it might have been bigger, mentally, in a bad way. But it seems like there was a mental effect, in a good way. Now, by no means am I saying what has gone on with Miles, Montrez, Book Knight, those type of situations are good for a team. But by watching these games, I can't help but think, is that fuel to the fire? They've been getting trolled on social media about being a criminal organization, but I think they set out to prove they're a lot more than that. The way they've been staring down opponents and flexing after made shots leads me to believe it. And everyone has been contributing. They had a 51.1 field goal percentage against the Spurs, collectively shooting 44% from the three-point line. And the Spurs are not one of the best teams in the NBA, but the way that the Hornets played against them was a great start. In their second game against the New Orleans Pelicans, even though they lost, they proved that they could still compete with the higher-ranked teams. Brandon Ingram had 28, Valanciunas had 30, Zion had 16, and McCollum had 21. It was just too much firepower. That's the kind of game that you need a Lamelo Ball to get 30 points as well. But even so, the game was still promising. Off the bench, we see Dennis Smith Jr., Jalen McDaniels, and Nick Richards come in and contribute. Bouknight not so much, but he would in the Hawks game. But back to the Pelicans game. Gordon Hayward had 26 points. Terry Rozier had 23. Not bad. They needed one more person to get in the 20s. PJ Washington has yet to break out, and Kelly Oubre, every single matchup has been increasing his point total. From 13 to 15 and finally 24 points against the Hawks. All in all, this Charlotte team seems to be clicking. They seem to be competing together, and a lot of that credit has to go to Steve Clifford for his training camp. Don't forget, the players aren't the only ones who have something to prove. Steve Clifford definitely has unfinished business in this city. And so far, so good. 3 games in, and you're number 3 in the standings. And because it's so early, it definitely may not mean much. But for this team that had this offseason, it could mean a lot more. Had they come out and lost their first 3 games, I don't know if the morale could have recovered. As of now, hope has returned to Charlotte, especially since the team is achieving this with their all-star on the bench. Fans are thinking if they can do this with Melo off the court, they can do a lot more with him on the court. Because on the court, we've seen high fives and emphatic dunks and snarls afterward, while the bench has been cheering, smiling, jumping up. This is the environment that Lamelo thrives in. I hear he's feeling better and better, and we should expect to see him soon. The only downside is between the preseason and the first 3 games of this season, the lineups haven't been exactly consistent. And that very well could affect chemistry. But what has weighed out over the chemistry so far is this team's ability to fight, this team's competitive edge, this team's hunger this season. And if they continue to play with this heart, this Charlotte Hornets organization just may surprise us. As Lamelo sits on the bench, he's making involuntary mental notes about his teammates and their skill set. He can't help it. These are his basketball instincts. So him sitting back and watching for a while isn't such of a bad thing, especially since the team is winning. Let's see what happens when Lamelo Ball comes back. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep getting these updates. Ball facts again. Peace.